We never went to church when I was growing up, but we did believe in God and prayed that one day he would show up, because it was going to take a miracle to change the things we had to see. If it wasn't drug addicts and drive-by shootings, there were families living on the streets and teenage prostitution. By the time I was in 8th grade, I got tired of asking strangers if they had any change to spare, and then watching them cross the street or look away like I wasn't even there. I mean, even a blind man could see that society didn't care about people like me. I guess they figured it was my fault for being raised in poverty. So that's why most of my days were spent hustling on the streets, so that I could at least buy some clothes and have something to eat. Because I remember the mornings when my mother would wake me up for school, hand me $3 and say, "Son, today I'm sorry you'll have to choose between riding the bus to get home or buying some food." I mean, it seemed like every day I prayed hoping that God would hear me, so that my mother could stop drowning her sorrows in bottles of Hennessy, always worrying about how she was going to take care of me. We didn't have health insurance, so moms couldn't see a doctor to deal with her depression. So instead of medication, she'd open another bottle every time she started stressing. On those nights when I wondered if things were ever going to change, I just wanted somebody to tell me that you're going to be okay. That I know it's tough right now, but there will be better days. Because I remember sitting up with my cousin one night, sharing a bag of chips and fantasizing over what our funerals would be like. You know, things like, who do you think will show up? Who will share stories and who will cry? Because it seemed like in order for people to finally see us, we would probably have to die. Imagine what it's like at the age of 15 to think that the only way to stop the rejection and receive some affection is for a pastor to close the casket and give your final benediction. All I ever really wanted was a chance to be free, for society to stop judging me by their stereotypes and personal insecurities. And maybe then I'd have a shot at being unapologetically and authentically me. Just like Jephthah in Judges 11, I found my place on the streets. But all I ever really wanted was for God to show up for me. The same way he showed up for Moses before he parted the Red Sea. And the same way he showed up for Joseph when he had his dream. Because every time I closed my eyes and tried to dream of what the future holds, like Rahab, all I had were the negative reminders of things that I was told. Successful people don't look like you. And you're not good enough because of what you've been through. And you don't even go to church, so why would God bless somebody like you? How many kids are growing up just like me, like Esther, Jephthah, Moses, and Joseph, just wanting to be free, wanting the opportunity to pursue their dreams, hoping that one day somebody's going to come looking for me, praying that people will open their eyes and see that I'm just like you. I may not have much, but I have a purpose too. I may not go to church, but God still loves me just as much as God loves you. In fact, God can use people like me too, because there's a testimony in what I've been through. I didn't go to church, but I found my sanctuary on the streets. And the people out here may not have degrees and prestige, but at least they believed in me. So that's why today I still give God all the praise, because everything changed. Faith got my mother off drugs, got me off the streets. I served my country, went to college, and got 2 degrees. So now it's my obligation to the next generation to go back to the streets and help people like me. Now, if that ain't God, then I don't know what is. Maybe unlike some people, God doesn't just help the good kids. So instead of turning my back on people in the hood, it's my turn to give back, because God has been too good. So for the people out there hurting and wondering if God hears you, Christians like me are answering the call, and we're out looking for you. See, the church doesn't have the right to pick and choose who gets to be a Christian, because that's not God at all. That's just elitist religion. That's why we can't covet Jesus by holding the gospel hostage in our locations, because this ain't just about going to church. It's about a ministry of reconciliation. And the kids on the block waiting on God to show up are hoping that we will tell the people who are tripping on who's the better Christian that it's time to grow up. Because God doesn't make mistakes, but people do. And what you've been through does not define you. It merely proves to you that you're stronger than anything that has ever tried to stop you. See, that's what urban ministry is all about. Telling hurting people that it's time to come out. Stop hiding in the shadows, ashamed of where you come from, but put your life in God's hands and be the person you are destined to become. Who's looking for me? God bless you.